This interview shows another situation in which a different picture comes up during probing. Louise picks up on what Ms. Parker said earlier during the short answer section.
When I asked, how important is it to you that the staff asks you rather than tell you what to do, you said things like you don't like to make waves or I cooperate. Did something ever happen here that you did have to make wave happen?
Ms. Parker discusses an incident with an aide.
She came in and in the middle of the night, I'm sleeping, and she yanks the cover like that at me and awakens me and said, I sleep nude when the lights are out. And I always have, and I'm not going to change now. I sleep better. She threw a gown at me, and said, put this on. That was the only thing she'd said to begin with. And I said, no, I don't wear a gown at night when the lights are out. Oh, she said, I said put it on. But I said, no, I refuse to put it on, and you can just leave it there. And with that, she turned to leave, and she was ready to turn off the light again that she turned on, and I could see her. She stopped in the middle of it, and she had a thought. And she rushed back to me and tore all the covers off my bed and walked out. That's kind of thing.
Earlier, Ms. Parker answered that it was important to her that when staff members go to her room, they explain why they are there. Louise probes.
And then you told me that it happens sometimes here.
Yes. Well, it would be difficult if in your bedroom you had suddenly the door open and someone come in that never smiled, never said a word, and did whatever they had to and walk out.
Okay.
It leaves a bad impression.
Okay, so...
Because it'd be so simple just to say good morning or good afternoon, I'm here to do such, and that would be it.
Can you give me an example of maybe a situation that occurred?
Yes, there's one gal right now that comes in the morning about 5, and without a word and a very glum expression, she walks up to you and hands you the thermometer. And I take it, put it in my mouth, wait until the signal buzzes, and give it back to her. She snatches it and walks out of the room without a word being said. There's some awfully nice ones I like, but those are more the permanent ones. I'd say the only thing that they should check more would be the night personnel.
Okay.
Because usually they change them around a lot.
In the 4th step, the team meets again. Their goals are to first tally all the responses from the short answer part of the interview. Then they determine whether problem areas exist. And finally, the group begins to develop a plan of action for addressing the problems they have found.
And the second question, that how important is it to you that staff addresses you in the way that you would like to be addressed? And there were a couple of people that really didn't feel like it was so important to them, the issue of how they are addressed. But the majority of them, it was very important, and it does seem like it's happening.
So that doesn't seem to be one of the areas that the residents expressed a lot of concerns over. That really shows a strength that we were able to come away with from these interviews.
The group continues to look at the raw numbers, reviewing how many people answered in specific categories. It's important, though, that the tally reflects those answers that changed upon probing in the second part of the interview, as we noticed with Mr. Kirkland and Ms. Henry.
She said that this happens all of the time, that staff takes an interest in her as an individual at first, but then in probing with her, we got to a very different answer, and we really kind of switched to some of the time, because what she talked about was that although the day shift staff were very aware and sensitive to her needs, the relief staff and the night staff, staff that didn't know her very well, were not. And she gave some specific examples as to when that happened.
I felt the same way with resident K in my interview with him. it was very important to him that the staff take an interest in his individual needs. And, you know, starting off the interview, he said that this basically happens all the time. But after probing, he started to give some more information about relief staff, staff that is not familiar with him.
The notes from the second part of the interview are key to the team's thorough analysis of the data, so they can see emerging patterns related to being treated with dignity and respect.
The attitude is different, their personality is different.
And again, the same theme, which obviously is something we're going to move to, which involves substitute staff or agency staff, however subbing is handled.
Right.
You know, it seems to be those unfamiliar staff members is the theme I've seen.
During some of the interviews, residents also reported that weekends and nights were different than weekdays, not as good.
And it's not easy to pinpoint exactly what it is. It's a combination of a lot of factors, different staffing, less supervision, less administrative staffing around, but there is a different feeling. And I think all of us in our interviews kind of really responded to these issues because we've all felt them ourselves.
The team discusses several other problems that were mentioned by residents. Having completed this analysis, the staff members first could consider whether more information is needed. If not, the team is prepared to develop a plan of action for solving the problems.
We've spent so much energy gathering this information and analyzing all of these details, and frankly it's worthless unless we take the final steps, which are creating strategies that we can put in place to correct the problems that have been identified.
I think we all realize that we're going to have to focus on the issue of the nights and the weekends, not just the staffing patterns and the staffing ratios, but also the attitudes and the feelings of staff at those times.
And also the administration needs to know the importance of this and the impact that it has on the residents.
Absolutely.
While developing a plan for addressing any problems, the team's analysis needs to include a close look at the basic management systems of the facility.
For instance, how one defines what a nurse aide's job is might be causing a problem in relationships. Is a nurse aide's job task-oriented or people-oriented? How the menu is picked for what food is going to be served to residents might have a lot to do with whether the residents like the food. Who makes the decisions in this facility? So it's really important for staff to begin to look at how their facility is run and what are some of the systemic processes.
And also I think we need to concentrate as well on the positive things that residents are experiencing during the day, and how we can bring those positive feelings and those positive relationships into other times, into the weekend, into the evenings.
And if we are dealing with agency staff right now, you know, when they come here, do we in-service them the way we in-service our staff? Right. We need to look at that, because I think that's very important, that they get the same type of in-service that our regular staff gets.
This is not a finite, linear process. It's circular, used to return to residents to identify concerns and improve quality of life, one issue at a time.
The majority of residents go there and stay. And so talking to them about how they want to live out their lives and what are the things that are important to them is crucial for your ability to evaluate whether or not you're doing a good job.